Now there is a newborn agency, the EU SPA. Will it change the current situation?
Okay, so I think the creation of this new agency is a good thing for the institution, first and foremost, because it's bringing a level of integration of various programs that were before run independently, which was probably a legacy of history, but not very efficient. So it's helping to harmonize this at the Commission level, to bring it to a level of efficiency, of consistency. It's pulling up together basically all the end user needs of the space capability for European citizens, which is, yeah, I think very good for the Commission. Maybe good as well towards ESA because ESA also had to deal with a lot of interfaces before. I don't think it will have a big impact on the industry, to be honest, because in the end, they are just procuring solution from us. They operate this solution and they are the end user of it. Sometimes we co-market together, such like imagery services. But it might make things simpler for interfaces, but I don't think it will help to solve the industrial landscape issues. I think it's a good step towards maybe a future where you will have an integrated ESA and European Commission, which would be ideal. Because at the moment, basically, you have European Commission is a decision-making layer and an industrial management layer, and ESA is a decision-making layer, an industrial management layer, and an engineering layer. And I mean, putting this thing together will make a lot more sense. And I think the USPA is probably a baby step to eventually go into this goal.
What is the most important challenge faced by the industry at the moment?
One of the big problems that we face the industry in these big European programs, whether they are a Commission or ESA, is the geo return. And the USPA will not solve the geo return at all. So to explain, the geo return policy means that every member state gives a certain amount of money to space programs, and in return, they need to get back the same money in industrial work share to their own companies. So it's good for them because it gives them access to very fancy programs that they could not do on their own, and they can enable them to build up capability that it would be otherwise very difficult to build. But from an industrial perspective, it's an absolute nightmare. It has always been a nightmare because basically it forces you to select a supplier because of his passport and not because of its skills. And it complexifies the supply chain. It also forces you to do things like, oh, I'm going to open a small office in that country so I can capture the money from that country, or actually I'm not doing anything there. I'm just funneling all that money to where I have my factories. So it's very inefficient, and it's a problem that has not been tackled by any agency yet. And I hope that maybe the USPA will think about it, because actually the head of the USPA is a former Airbus manager, Rodrigo da Costa.
In your opinion, which will be the single most important action to take in order to increase the overall European space competitiveness?
To increase competitiveness of the European space industry. So, yeah, it's not that difficult because the situation today is, honestly, in Europe, the setup is created to answer a political motivation of making sure that you have jobs everywhere in Europe, that is equally distributed, that you have capabilities a bit everywhere, so that all the European nations are happy, and although it's not so efficient and you need to subsidize a lot. That's answering your jobs and political correctness, let's say, ambition. Now, if your target is competitiveness globally, first and foremost, what do you need to do? You need to free that completely and to say, we're going to organize and we're going to verticalize the value chain of the European space industry to make it as efficient as possible for export. And so in this way, first of all, what you have to do, the member states have to agree on on critical capabilities to be hosted in the individual countries. So they say today, for example, situation today, almost all the countries want to have high resolution radars. Almost all the countries want to have super high encrypted secure communications, but it's insane. So you say, for example, Germany, you guys do high resolution radar. France, you do launchers. Spain, you do like astronomy instruments, very precise things like this, or gyros for satellites. And so everyone is specializing in one single thing without overlapping. Everybody is a sort of supplier of each other, and the industry, or maybe helped by an agency, is deciding on this guy is going to be my supplier and not this guy, and we're going to verticalize this as much as possible. Now, so it's also freeing a lot of resources, I think, for the government, because now they're spending a lot of money into coordinating this bubble of jobs everywhere. So now, let's say the industry does it. The only thing that the government has to make sure is to focus on the specificities of each member state, and to eventually provide support for export. So, if I want to go to Asia to sell in Japan, if I want to sell to South America, if I want to sell to India, I'm going with the High Representative of the European Commission together on a mission, and the industry representative is there, the Commission is there, and we make a deal together. This is exactly the way the US does it. So when Lockheed Martin wants to sell satellite to Australia, they bring the highest guy in the Department of Defense with them to discuss, and they bring Mike Pence, for example. We never do that in Europe. We've never did it because we always wanted to decorrelate politics from business for idealistic reason. But if you want to be successful at export, that's what you need to do, some G2G agreements.
Thank you, Jean-Dominique, to share with us your expertise and thoughts.
I wanted to mention as a conclusion that I am a strong supporter of Volt. I really believe in the mission of Volt, in the change power that it can bring, that is badly needed in Europe. So happy to support anything, and if there's any question that needs to be discussed, if people don't agree with anything I said, I'm really happy to take that offline and discuss it in a one-by-one discussion. So thank you very much.